The topic we're going to speak about today is the gender agenda. And so I have a lot of mothers that I speak to that are aware. So of course their children are very sensitive beings. You know, if your mom is aware and if your mom is open to spirituality, they have teenagers that are going through it. And so I receive questions around that of, hey, my son, my daughter are thinking about transitioning, and I am a progressive mom, but something doesn't feel right. So these are very serious questions and very fundamental questions. And so I'm here to provide a perspective rooted in the essence of nature. And I really hope this can help someone, whether that is you as a mom or just helping you to have compassion and see things from a broader perspective, from a deeper perspective, from a energetic standpoint and creational standpoint, because this is where I'm coming from. I'm looking at the human vessel as basically a machine for creation. Yeah, so anything that will block this process of birthing creations, and I don't just mean literally, I mean energetically. I see us as the antenna for God. I see us as the doula for God and the mother for God. Like, we birth heaven onto this planet, and quite literally through giving birth to very high vibratory beings, but also non-literally in our way that whatever it is we create, whatever it is we put out into this world, whether that is thoughts, words, businesses, physical creations, our beingness is constantly creating. So anything that is interrupting that natural process of our creatorhood is something that I look at. And so this is the perspective I'm coming from. I am not coming from a political standpoint. I am not coming from a hateful standpoint in any way. I am merely here, which is not merely, this is quite like big. But I'm here to give nature a voice and speak from that perspective. So I hope this will bring clarity, but since we're calling clarity in, I know it will bring clarity, since we're connecting something deeper. And every time we connect to the essence of life, because all it takes is the right address. So we're connecting to the womb of creation. We're connecting to the essence of creation. So every time we do this energetically, it will naturally bring clarity. So I am speaking to the mothers that want to dearly desire to support their child's, but also having the wisdom of nature to back them up. And this might be for you if you're considering to transition. I hope this video finds you, and you still do you, boo. But there is the wisdom of the earth, the wisdom of the ages, the wisdom of the ancient ones, the laws of nature that no one can argue with. So if you make this incredibly impactful decision, at least I would love for you to make a very informed decision. And the resources that are provided in the mainstream or on the internet are not well-informed sources, because they're missing the most vital aspect, which is nature, which is what are you really here to do, and what is humanity even? Most people are not aware to this truth yet. Most people were disrupted from their natural connection to that wisdom. So what I'm going to be speaking about in this video is very multi-layered, because I'll be speaking about a couple different things, and I will go quite deep into certain agendas. I mean, not too deep, but we have to like come from many different angles to really grasp what is going on here. And let's start with the feeling that some in these more androgynous bodies have. And so it's interesting that this is mostly a topic in the younger generation, and it seems like something that came out of nowhere. It seems like in the last 10 years this has become this major topic. Now, I knew a couple people who went through transition when I was like 18, 19 years old, but it wasn't this big topic that everyone spoke about, and it wasn't propagated in I don't know if that's the word. I'm coming from propaganda. It's probably not the right word, but it wasn't displayed in Hollywood, in the media, over and over and over again, which right now we can clearly see this agenda is being pushed in the music industry, like with artists. And again, when there's purity, when we see purity, everything is pure. So if we came from a lens of a deeper understanding, this expression of a more androgynous energy would be beautiful, but there's a different frequency playing with that. And so again, our planet is raising its frequency. So it makes sense that this generation is experiencing this, because these are more high vibratory beings, just naturally oscillating on a higher frequency. So these beings are used to an existence above the law of gender, because even though the law of gender exists on multiple planes, on a source level all is one. So source transcends the law of gender. So these beings, or the kids, the teenagers that now feel like, am I in the wrong body? It's a natural confusion that occurs due to the high vibration they're used to. They're very sensitive beings. So they come onto this plane and they're here to play with this and embody the highest form of femininity and masculinity. That's what I believe, at least. So again, it makes sense that if you come from a source or an existence that transcends the law of masculine and feminine, it only makes sense that coming onto this planet and having to either fit in this one category or into this one, none of these will resonate. And that's okay, that's beautiful, because I believe that these beings are here to embody a more divine representation of masculinity and femininity, or maybe even play with it and maybe even have it more fluid. Yeah. But now what's happening is we grow up, we're being raised in an environment that does not match the natural frequency that these beings come onto this planet with. Yeah. So now these beings have this natural time of integration or introgation. Integration is not a good word. And rather them unfolding naturally and blossoming into any expression that they'd like to, they're being put into this label of transgender, or you're in the wrong body. And now as children, young adults, very impressionable, being raised in a very low vibrational environment, being bombarded with mind control from Hollywood, from porn, from music industry, whatever, from school, being pushed into a certain agenda, that is the problem. Because if this high frequency being is meant to naturally unfold, this unfolding process is now being stopped. And for that, we have to go into the next truth, which is you cannot change your sex. You cannot physically change your gender. So this is it's an illusion that is being fed. And bigger than that, the most disturbing agenda is God does not exist. Because what are we subconsciously, or not we, but what are these agendas subconsciously creating? They're creating, or not even subconsciously, it's consciously, they're creating the idea that God doesn't exist, or that creation is random. And just like Einstein said, the only thing that matters is, glaubst du an ein freundliches Universum? Do you believe in a benevolent universe? And so this agenda is creating the opposite of that. And again, for some that is very conscious, they witness that process consciously. But for those people who aren't aware yet to that layer or dimension of reality, it's subconscious. So subconsciously, the world is being told creation is random, the universe is random, and God doesn't exist. Or more so, if God exists, this overarching womb makes mistakes. And it's completely denying divine perfection. And this is detrimental. And this is why this is such a sinister agenda. And some forces push that agenda deliberately. Again, there's a lot of innocence in this. I believe there is innocence in a lot of doctors. In some, not so much. But I believe that the doctors who inform, they're doing not their best, but they're doing what they can to inform, and they do want to help. But since they're missing that energetic and spiritual perspective, that creational perspective, the information that they're passing on is just not well informed. They're missing the most vital aspects. Another aspect of the agenda is also that it promotes self-hate. Yeah, it promotes the idea that if you hate your body, you can just change it. And again, that also, happens through other plastic surgeries. And yes, I've experienced this in my own body. And yet, there's something irreversible about the sexual centers. If we allow someone to remove our sexual centers or mutilate our sexual centers, and that's essentially what it is mutilation. and we can call it surgery. But for your body, what your body is experiencing is a very traumatic mutilation. What the elemental body, the elemental layer of your light body is experiencing is extreme mutilation. And that is a trauma that is inflicted, that is a very immense imprint on your light body. This is a perspective that doctors do not see yet. Their consciousness is not at the space yet to make this aware decision. It's very barbaric, and the surgery itself is very barbaric, and we do not have the means to create a sexual organ. We just do not. Yes, maybe you can turn into it and make it look like it somehow, or maybe you can take, you know, some skin from your forearm and turn it into it. But it's not gonna. There is a light body aspect to our sexual organs, and an energetic function, and a geometry that we might not see with our eyes, but that exists. So what we're doing is we're completely distorting that sacred geometry of the sacral and the root. And we're promoting the sense of it's okay to hate your body, which is very panic. It's a very sinister agenda. And when we create this much discord within a body, so basically saying and supporting someone in this whole, like, yes, you're in the wrong body, and now for the rest of your life you will have to take hormones and feel somehow at dissonance with your body. It's a very sinister agenda. And if you truly were in balance and in love with existence, you would love your body regardless if it was a male body or a female body. My masculine and feminine aspects within, the energies within, are so established that I adore both of them. If I was in a masculine body, I would embrace the living out of it. Like, I would embrace it. I would love to experience a masculine body. And yet, I so deeply enjoy the feminine existence. I love my body. I love every part of my body. That was a journey. It wasn't always like that. The love that I have for my body wasn't as authentic. It was based on appearance. It was based on if you're functioning right, doing this. I was very much at war with my body for a majority of my life. So that shows me that this sense of being in the wrong body is just a way that our mind tries to fix a really big problem. And as you witness a lot of people who went through transitioning mentally, like spiritually, there's still not a balance that allows them a tranquil, truly divine and peaceful existence. Or I have yet to meet that person. The person that I'm actually working with her, she transitioned. And she's such a, again, I call her she. I call you whatever you want to be called. I don't really care, you know? You do you. But it was a beautiful observation. And it kind of validated what spirit and then the energetic research already showed me. It's just such a brilliant, magnificent, beautiful being. Just here to live life, do no harm, and do good. You know, a really sweet being, an incredibly intelligent being, incredibly brilliant, like truly, mastermind. And with such a sweetness that is again like almost off-planetary. Like it's this sweetness or this humble, like it's very alien in nature. And I think a lot of you know what I mean, like certain races, when they appear to us, they have this grace to them. Again, a grace that transcends gender. Like oftentimes when they appear in meditations or when we just feel into them, there is no gender. It's very fluid. So this beautiful being has a grace to it that it probably felt like it couldn't express if it was in a masculine body, or if it had to fit into you're a man. So that's very interesting. And yet I also see a lot of anxiety in the field, a lot of geometry distortion in the field. And the way this comes through is by extreme anxiety and a feeling of this body isn't safe and I have to protect myself and this world isn't really safe. And I can see it in the field, I can feel it. And that happens when the full incarnation into the root and the sacral is blocked. And this is another agenda. And this gender agenda is just another expansion of that, or another extension of that, another branch of it if you wish so. Through the generational sexual trauma, human beings have a tough time to truly anchor into the body. Because that's where the pain is stored. In our sacral for women in the womb, but also for men, they have an energetic womb, which is called hara, I think, in yogic traditions. So we all have a womb. And this is where the pain is stored, the pain of our ancestors, the collective pain. So again, like our individual pain, the individual trauma that we went through, and the sexual distortion that we went through, and the deep sexual trauma that a lot of us went through. It's shocking how many people have been literally raped as children, or sexually abused. Like again, like we say sexually abused and it sounds like not so invasive, but literally some children have been raped by adults. Raped. Like, sorry that I'm honing this in, but we have to face like what's actually going on. So when this occurs, there's of course an immense trauma in the sexual center, which makes it hard for the spirit, for the soul, which has such a pure frequency, to feel safe to inhabit the body fully, because it's like, no, up until here and I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. This is why in the spirituality community scenery, you see a lot of like bypassing, you see a lot of airy-fairiness, and yes, we're transmuting that because we're coming in with realness. And the people of us who, the starseeds of us, the beings that already transcended a lot of sexual trauma, are like, hey, we gotta shine a light on this. And again, with the root, it destabilizes the root, because it makes you feel as a child and your light body feel like, whoa, this planet isn't safe. I don't want to root here. I don't want to rely on this planet, because this planet betrayed me, because this doesn't feel like a safe existence. Like, why would a planet that is benevolent allow things like this to happen? Yeah. So a lot of us are not even fully incarnated into the body yet, because the distorted geometries in the light body, which we're speaking on one dimension, cause a lot of pain. There's a disrupted pattern now, a disrupted geometry. So it makes it really hard for us to anchor in here. So what will happen is, this is where addictions come in. This is where you feel people like not in their body, just scatter-minded, just an ungrounded energy, just an unsafe energy. While with people who are inhabiting their root, inhabiting their sacral chakra, there's a slowness to them. There's a safety to them. And as we come back in to our sacral, to our root, we will have that groundedness, that safety, that hey, this is a safe space. What's up? Yeah. And you can feel the different texture in people. It's a sensual expression, a safe sensual expression, a safe intimate expression. Yet people who experienced immense trauma in these areas will for a long time attempt to avoid that, or attempt to distract themselves from this. And so this balance, this deep inner safety, this deep anchoredness into the body, this homecoming into the body hasn't happened for a lot of people. Because that also means healing. That also means we'll have to probably feel the pain again and move through the pain. And some people do not feel like they have the support system. Some don't even know what to do about it. The moment you're consciously aware that there's trauma, man, you've already won. Like, seriously. Like, for a lot, it's not even knowing what's going on. That's most of humanity doesn't even know what happened. Most of humanity doesn't even see that there has been immense trauma. I don't know if I'm allowed to say sexual on YouTube. Yeah, ridiculous. But yeah. So where I'm going with this is, only when the spirit, the soul, is fully incarnated into the body, which it isn't if we're cutting ourselves off from our sexual centers. The soul cannot inhabit these distorted frequencies, these distorted geometries. Yeah, it's like the key doesn't fit. So to truly inhabit or allow our soul to inhabit the body fully, to fully properly reincarnate, which will allow the creation to flow through us, which will allow abundance flow through us, because naturally once we're back to our original state of creatorhood, we then become the ones that manipulate this reality masterfully, and manipulate not in a bad way, but manipulate the energy, so we create according to the energies within. And as we heal, as we establish the divine blueprint of our light body again, our being will be reflected outside. So naturally, when everything is in tune again, everything is back into the beauty of original creation, everything we will touch, every breath will create a mirror. So naturally, this will create beauty on the planet. This will eradicate any child abuse. This will eradicate any child trafficking. This will eradicate immediately any sexual abuse to anyone, any harm. But most of humanity is not engaging in this process because deliberately sexual trauma has been inflicted and the root is unstable. And again, I believe God transcends all. I know eternal source transcends all. And yet, there is a little pocket that is not working in accordance to God's law, maybe on a bigger scheme. But just to make it easy, and I'm not feeding into this in a massive scale, it doesn't scare me in any way. I'm just pointing out this is happening so we can transcend it, so we can heal it. Like human trafficking, it is happening. It is happening. There are young girls being sold into slavery, sex slavery. It is happening. So there is this, whatever, if someone want to call it cabal or whatever you want to call it, the negative agenda, whatever this is, but there is an agenda to prevent human beings to incarnate into their full creational power. Because when human beings incarnate safely into this body, they have more of a creational power, which means they have more impact into the architecture and the shaping of this reality. First on an energetic level, and then on a material matter level, on a physical level, if matter exists in any way. So there was an attempt to prevent this, and this agenda is still rolling out. Again, you can see this in the mainstream media, you can see this in porn, you can see this in Hollywood. So this agenda is still rolling out, and the gender agenda is another branch of that. Because what happens if you mutilate the creational center? Let's call the sacral the creational center. If you mutilate the creational center of a being, and you mutilate the root of a being, and the gender, the sex of someone is the root, it's where we feel safe, it's where we feel home. And if we mutilate both of these energy centers on a physical level, on a light body level, it is impossible for this being to tune into the original light body geometry. So it is impossible to feel safe in the body because these two centers have been mutilated on a physical level, have been distorted. The nature doesn't exist there anymore, and that's a very, very, very unsafe place for this being. And I'm very sorry for, it hurts me if people make this decision without knowing what's happening on a deeply energetic and spiritual level. Now, some are like, I don't care, I don't want to embody my full creatorship in this lifetime. That's cool. That's fine, you know. You're like, I just want to experience being in a female body. Okay, cool. Or at least the illusion of a female body. Okay, beautiful. But for those who are desiring, which is, I believe every soul is just desiring to live in truth and desiring to have a beautiful experience, an experience connected to essence, an experience connected to love, original source. So what's happening here is immense warfare. And this is why you can see this anxiety, because now this being does not have a natural root or a natural sacral. So energetically, there is no nature to tune back into. This also influences the creatorship of this being. And it takes a healthy sacral, healthy root to be able to create on this planet. Yeah. To birth divine frequencies into being, to become masterful at energy manipulation, to become master hermeticists, to use the words of my partner, we require sacred geometry and divine blueprint of our light body to be able to masterfully interact and influence. So this has been manipulated without giving the being all the information. And that's what I'm here for. I just want to give all the information so there can be an informed choice for the mothers. I just want to give a different perspective so there can be maybe a deeper support. Because this is a surface attempt for a deeper pain. And the surface attempt is a really freaking big attempt. But this also shows us how deep this pain is. Yeah, this disconnection from the body, this disconnection from source, this disconnection from God is so deep that a being is willing to go through all of this hardship, all of these surgeries, all of these mutilations, all of these hormonal therapies, all of it. This is a big process, which also shows us and reflects this internal warfare that is going on in all of us to some degree. Yeah, these beings are just so sensitive. Again, they are used to an existence higher up, where they transcend female and male. They're used to an existence very close to source. These are really high frequency beings that are coming in, especially the generation under 20, under 25, just very high frequency beings. So they feel this pain to an even greater degree than maybe the generation before or before that has felt. Yeah. So what is required is healing and a homecoming, and that is something we all have to do individually. Like your job, my job is to radiate balance, radiate nature, radiate what is natural, radiate a frequency of home. That's our job. When we tune into the original architecture of our womb, of our root, it's very slow, it's very sweet, it's very safe. And I want you right now with me, if you feel safe, to take a breath, whether through words, through listening to my words, or your own visualization. Move your awareness to your root. Maybe touch your root, your sacral. Let's breathe into that for a second. Do you love this space? How much of the original blueprint has been reestablished? Healing of the root and healing of the sacral takes time. It takes time. It's a slow moving energy. It takes years to heal, and I'm not saying that to discourage anyone, because it's a path we all have to eventually take. It's what heals the planet, it's what heals the body, it's what allows for true creatorship. Because yes, you can create anything in the upper realm, in your third eye chakra and up, and you can create visions. But essentially, we're here to birth these visions, and these visions only birth through a healed system, the original divine blueprint of our light body. And that takes years, which is fine. Again, this is an initiation, this is a path. And regardless if New Age wants to tell you that with one chakra healing session all is healed, this is complete BS, man. Complete BS. And every woman, every man who has been diligently working on healing their trauma in these centers and reestablishing a original foundation of divine blueprint, they will tell you, but yeah, it takes it takes a long while, and it's the most rewarding journey. It's a journey in which we eliminate all momentary pleasures, all addictions, all quick fixes, and the reward is true pleasure, is true union with life, is true creatorhood, is true influence on the energetics of the planet. That's a worthwhile journey, and that takes years. So give it time. Be patient. There's nothing wrong with you. There's immense pain in there. There's collective pain, and yet there is also so much beauty and so much orgasmic potential right now. Like, working with this pain can be really cathartic and beautiful. So allow yourself time and be sweet and compassionate with that process, because it does take time. And I mentioned that now at least 10 times. It'll take time. We're walking back home into our original divine light body blueprint. This is a path that requires radical honesty and devotion. So, does your womb, does your root feel like a safe place? Does it feel like home that you can rely on? Does it feel like a stable foundation? And we'll do plenty more work around that. This is just for you to get a little idea, get a tune in to, how do I feel? How do these centers feel within me? Knowing that this body is divine. Yeah, we came into the exact body we were meant to incarnate in. If it was possible to incarnate in the wrong body, it would be also possible to reverse that process, right? And there is no process that can reverse that. So the body we're in is exactly the body we're meant to be in. The experiences we had were exactly the experiences we meant to have. Time is quantum. Yeah. Sometimes the reason for why a certain thing happened is in the future. And there is always a reason. Maybe you're meant to heal thousands or maybe even millions of people. And that's why you had to walk through what you walked through. Doesn't mean that it's easy. It doesn't have to be easy. Like, we're always so obsessed with, let it be easy. Fuck, let it be hard. Either way, I'll do it. Either way, I'll be able to handle it. So maybe life was freaking hard up until now. And maybe for your son, for your daughter, maybe this coming home to the body has been really tough. Okay, and they will find a way in tune with nature to come home to that body. To share the experience with other beings of similar frequency. And there will be so many beautiful solutions and so much beautiful expansion in consciousness without mutilation and surgery. Yeah. So maybe they're having a really hard go at it, a really tough time to inhabit this body. Beautiful. That's great. They will teach all of us a lesson in self-love and homecoming, but not if this path is bypassed by surgery. Please feel very free to comment, to ask questions, to add your perspective. Again, this is a really intense topic, really triggering topic for a lot, and I hope and I know I was able to bring some clarity, if not with my words, with the energetic that is flowing in the background. So I love you all so much.